Goals, goals, goals. You got to aim towards a goal. Aim, it could be just you aim at something. You draw, a square, like a crosshair. You draw a square, a box. It could be, it could be 10 push ups. It's like an art. I don't understand. I don't understand. Arms up, arms down, arms up to the side, arms down, arms up to the side, to the right, to the left, to the right, and to the left, to the right, and to the left. I drew a box like this over here. It says a goal to work towards. I'll show you. A goal, you can't see, a goal to work towards. Towards. I watched a video last night. I stayed up. Porn, YouTube. It ruined my day. I'd done a good day. I'd almost I had almost 100% accuracy in that day. What is accuracy? Let's say you go to the gym, you come back, there's a pizza, and you feel like you shouldn't eat the pizza, so you don't eat it. That's accurate. For where you are in that moment and your choice, you did something accurate. The only days I've ever gotten to the end of the day and I'm falling asleep and I was like, I had 100% accuracy that day. All of those cupcake intersections, soda versus water intersections, anxious or meditate, listen to music or create music, all of the different intersections, the gut feeling, the logical reasoning, all of the tools you're learning. The only day I've ever gotten to 100% was when I was doing these boxes, these goals. So, but I've always felt like I'm doing them to get to some ice cream, to some reward, to some eventual spike of dopamine. And I'm realizing now that's not true. You just keep going, and it's just the keeping on going that's fun. It's just the walking. I just keep walking. There's no finish line, but you start walking. Eventually, you sign up for 5Ks, and there is a finish line, but you're not daily. So there are finish lines. I guess that's milestones. You have goals, but then you start having milestones, and that's an even bigger one. So you complete a goal, next goal. You always have some goal. There's always some goal you're working towards. I saw a video about how short talk is important because it leads to big talk. And recently, I've been experiencing something. Two things. One, I've had goals that were too big, and so I couldn't get up to them. I couldn't communicate them. I couldn't break them down. And then two, when I'm talking to people, my talk is too big. I just walk up to people and I'm like, I've never met them before. I'm like, are you also having problems with substance? And they're like, excuse me, like that's prohibited to talk about. And it's like small talk where like, oh, I like those shoes. What made you think of those shoes? So it's hard to do. It's not easy to do, but that the shoes lead to the other deeper conversations. So it's a skill, and I think it's the same thing. Starting to make music too big instead of, what does one note sound like? Oh, and what would the next one be? Before these are just all ideas. These are all ideas. All ideas. So I just made one. I've been thinking like, dang, I should at least make tea. I should at least get started. And all day I've just been going and going and going, saying I need to create, not consume, because of the video I watched about the replacement revolution, where you create instead of consume. That the way to get over consumption, this addiction stuff, is by creating, not consuming. And before I was doing that, I was doing boxes. But then I got boxed in. I was in a frame, in a little square. So I wasn't like creating, but creating goals, and then always and being in a goal. So these are multiple things piecing together. I don't have them. Acting towards problems. I'm watching these people, Dr. K. Huberman Peterson type stuff. And yes, actually, what they're saying is useful. And the things people complain about them, I see that they're not understanding them. And I'm trying to, because the things they're doing are pretty useful. But there's always a goal, short goals, small goals, some goal that I'm working towards. Right now, I just made a goal. Instead of going like this, I just made green tea and some toast. And now I was like, I made the tea already. I need some goal to work on after that. So now I'm ranting about goals and then I'm just going to upload that to YouTube. Not because it's a great goal, but I just needed something. And I was already on this one anyways. And I'm already wanting to just keep creating and not stopping or consuming. But it's hard to keep creating if I'm just constantly creating in the moment with how I feel and I'm not creating or aiming my creation intentionally towards something because it's more efficient. It got so exhausting and tiring the days where I've just been creating, creating, creating. And it's also tired when I just keep making boxes that are very uncreative because they're not fun or they don't inspire me. So I burn out in either one when I'm just creating with no goals or I'm doing goals that aren't very creative. I burn out in either one of those. So what I'm doing now is I'm being very creative with always having goals so that they inspire me and they're fun and I have something to aim towards and I can make it to the end of these days because I'm not always having to wonder what it is that I'm doing and having multiple things I'm thinking of that I'm doing so that I can't do all of them at the same time anyways. Instead I can just pick one and I have to get creative with learning how to prioritize two, but I at least just need something to aim at. I know there's such a thing as smart goals and these grids of Eisenhower matrices and prioritizations, but I'm not that good at goal making yet. I just need something I can do. That technology is a bit advanced. I'm not there yet. I need something in this moment that I can do. A rant about goals. It doesn't have to be good. I just need to have something that I'm aiming for because the alternative pathway is that I would become still water. It wouldn't be good. Like if I'm not creating, if I have no goals, if I got nothing, I'm gonna make the decisions that sell my soul, and that'll be something. I'm gonna get hurt by my own actions, my own words. That's the reaction. It's absurd, but it seems to be the pathway that I go. And I'm looking at the water in this thing called pH, acidity, and chemistry base, and all these other principles that I'm surrounded by. I don't want to be left high and dry is a song I just sang by Radiohead that made me feel like I was the guy in the first verse. Talking mappy and buzzing like a refrigerator. It hurt. I don't wanna be that. Get the karma police on my ass. Hopefully, I can come back and I can climb the ladder of life and living and health. H.P. Lovecraft, he died real young of some kind of pancreatic cancer or something, and he had a wife, but she couldn't be there for him because he wouldn't work. He just kept writing, or he wouldn't work hard enough. So they got separated because they couldn't afford the rent to stay together. So he had to move all the way back home with his sisters who didn't want his wife to go with him. And obviously, like they're not caring and nurturing as much as the wife is going to be. So now he's lonely and dies absurdly from cancer. And his wife dies too out there alone because they're separated and they didn't do the things they needed to do in order to stay together. And they're both like writers. It's kind of like if you're H.P. Lovecraft and you love writing so much, short stories, essays, news scripts constantly, and you find someone that likes to do the same thing all day, you can just talk in this expressive kind of way that you've learned to love about the way linguistics works in your head and how you say things. And you found someone else to do that, and you think it's just going to be awesome because of how awesome it is, but you don't do the work required to make it like the logical foundational structure, meaning you're being very creative with the person. You might be very creative in the moment, and that burns out because of your ultradian rhythms aren't going to be always creative, even if they are right now. So if you just do whatever you fear, eventually you're going to feel like very stressed, and then do stress type activities if you're just doing the things that you feel. And your trading stuff's not always going to be creative. And if you don't have dopamine or you're not in your circadian shit, then you're not even going to have the motivation to be creative anyways. You'll just do what you crave. And what you crave isn't going to help you survive the day to day. No matter what you think in those moments or what you say, it won't last the 16-hour block that you got to be accurate 100% of the time. You're trying to use your energy effectively and efficient and give your days the juxtaposition like a rhyme. So there's some kind of structure, some kind of goal. Because what I'm seeing is like some kind of so even right now, if it seems like it's random that I'm doing. I'm kind of ranting about this goal idea, and it's not structured, but it's structured in the fact that I have made a box about ranting about the goal idea. And that seems a bit chaotic, but it's about as chaotic as throwing a rock at a target, which is good if the target is a squirrel and you're in the woods and you need like 300 calories of like some lean protein, probably with like 8% fat in there or something, and then maybe whatever the bone broth could be, or organ meat, or I don't even know what all parts it could be, maybe a pelt that you need, then perhaps aiming that rock at that target is not so random, but it's just the kind of protein snack that you need, that's in demand, that your body system needs in demand for the energy. And maybe I have a squirrel inside of my head and the other parts feel that that's dread, and he goes a little crazy trying to save up acorns for the whole years, and maybe I'm throwing a rock at that squirrel. That doesn't even make sense. None of this makes sense. But I'm only saying that. There's no structure to the things that I'm saying, but there is structure to the way that I'm playing, like neuroplasticity playing. Like it seems random what I'm doing, but it has some kind of intention because I drew a box and I put that intention in that box. And then I said, I'm going to make a rant about this idea that I'm thinking about, which I never do. I don't usually record myself and I have no intention of uploading it, but I did this time just because I needed a goal. Even if it was a bad goal, an annoying goal, if it felt like it was weird, it feels like it's rebuilding my soul, of course, like it's coal. Like I feel like I'm kind of harvesting coal in some kind of way, and I don't understand it, but it feels like the way. And it doesn't make sense and it doesn't rhyme, and I feel stupid. I feel foolish, honestly, but I feel like that's part of it. I feel like that's something in the bush there, hiding behind there, looking at me with big old eyes, like it's scared. Like glowing little beady yellow glowing amber glowing eyes in the center of those black cute little spheres with a reflective white rectangular square and a furry little fuzzy ear and a fluffy little curly tail. Mammalian creature that likes to screech and scream and yell. Harvard, Stanford, Oxford. These are buildings, colleges. I'm sure they teach goals. Baseball, soccer, football, all of these things. I'm sure they all have goals. Pickleball, everything. I'm sure the human anatomy system has goals. I'm sure the universe has goals. I'm sure that the universe has a soul and we're all part of it. And there's goals that make all of it up, just like a muffin. And in the center of the muffin is some things baked in. Doesn't make sense, but it's the when, yeah. It's gotta be stupid at first. You gotta start small. I don't always know. Sometimes I drop the ball. I pick it back up. I pick the thing back up. Anyways, it's that throughout the day, it'll be a lot more effective if I always have goals that I'm working towards. And that if I see the making of goals and the actions towards them, and the adaptations towards the actions towards them, and the reworking of them, and the kind of emergence of prioritization systems, matrices, levels of priority, which is a prioritization system, iteration, iteration, analytical reflections, results, recaps, that these things are what grow character. It's not that you just do things and things happen, it's that you work a goal towards them. And as you create goals, you learn more about them. And that you can be so rigid in your goals and the way that you act, adapt, analyze, reflect, and iterate to those goals. You can have goals that are so big, but you don't adapt the bigness. You can have goals that are small and tiring. And they're so small that when you finish one, eventually you don't know the next one to do, and it's 3 p.m. and you've done like 50 small goals, and you're still thinking you need more because now you don't know what to do. Because you don't have hobby goals, friend goals, family goals, social goals. You never stop doing goals. You just make better goals for the time of the day that require those better goals because the goal is just an aim. And your eyes are always open. You're always aiming till they're closed. Then you don't have to aim as much, but then you're going to sleep. And then you have dreams anyways, which is nice and refreshing. Or you meditate or you close your eyes or something. I don't know. Just ranting about goals.